just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire
Breaking news out of the WNBA, and it's nothing short of a disaster. Television ratings have completely collapsed since Caitlin Clark's injury, with league-wide viewership dropping over 50% and Indiana Fever broadcasts down more than 53%. Fans who once packed arenas and tuned in every night are now disappearing faster than playoff hopes in the fourth quarter. The entire league has been thrown into chaos as desperate executives scramble for answers, while social media is already calling it the biggest meltdown in years. It's like watching Netflix with no Wi-Fi, unwatchable, messy, and impossible to sell without the one player who had millions glued to their screens. Now, the WNBA is facing a crisis that feels less like a setback and more like a full-blown collapse. So buckle up, because what I'm about to show you proves just how fragile this so-called breakthrough season really was.
Any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership.
Everyone expected ratings to dip a little after Caitlin Clark went down, but nobody predicted the bottom would completely fall out of the WNBA. This isn't just a small slump, this is a full-scale collapse. Playoff ratings have tanked faster than a phone battery at 2 a.m., and league officials are in pure panic mode, scrambling to figure out how to stop the bleeding. Rumors are already flying that executives begged the Indiana Fever to tease Clark's comeback just to keep fans from switching the channel. And honestly, it makes sense because the WNBA built this season as their breakthrough moment, their chance to finally prove they could hang with the big leagues. But instead, the reality is a face-first crash into disappointment. Fans tuning in are seeing empty seats, dead energy, and games that feel more like preseason scrimmages than the biggest stage in women's basketball. The truth is, without Caitlin Clark, the entire league is exposed, and now they're paying the price. Let's be real here. This WNBA season hasn't just been rough, it's been an absolute circus. Injuries stacking up like dominoes, foul calls so inconsistent, it feels like the referees are spinning a magic 8-ball, and the commissioner acting like player safety is just a suggestion. Fans who wanted to watch competitive basketball have instead been forced to sit through chaos that looks more like WWE SummerSlam than a professional league. And the moment Caitlin Clark spent more time on the bench than on the floor, the entertainment value disappeared overnight. It's like defenders are treating her like a crash test dummy, and the refs are letting it slide. The sad part is, fans aren't just frustrated. They're checked out, flipping the channel to pickleball highlights instead of watching playoff basketball. Because without Clark, the spark is gone, and now the league is desperate to convince people that the fire is still burning, when really, it's nothing but smoke. And here's where it gets even worse, because the numbers don't lie. National broadcasts that were supposed to be headline events are now pulling ratings so low, you'd think they were late-night reruns. The Fever's matchup against the Minnesota Lynx barely scraped past 1.2 million viewers, and the very next game dropped to under 500,000. That's not just a dip, that's a free fall, and it proves exactly what everyone has been whispering since Clark went down. The WNBA doesn't have a backup plan. Without her on the floor, the league feels like a movie without its star actress. Fans aren't showing up, networks are quietly embarrassed, and the so-called breakthrough season has turned into a warning sign that without real leadership, this entire project might collapse before it ever takes off. Now, let's talk about the officiating, because if the ratings weren't already embarrassing, the referees turned this season into a comedy sketch. One night a player gets shoved across the court and it's nothing. The very next game, someone sneezes too hard and they're ejected. Fans don't know if they're watching basketball or improv night at the local comedy club. One ref looked like he was still chewing pizza while calling a technical. another acted like he was officiating roller derby, and the consistency is somewhere between a fortune cookie and a broken vending machine. The truth is, these refs have become part of the problem. Every blown whistle chips away at credibility, every missed call makes fans question why they even tuned in, and the longer Clark is off the court, the more obvious it becomes that the league's officials can't protect its stars, can't control its games, and can't stop the entire product from falling apart. And just when you think this season couldn't get more chaotic, the injuries keep piling up like it's an orthopedic surgeon's dream list. Caitlin Clark has spent more time recovering than actually playing because defenders are treating her like she owes them money. Every drive to the basket feels like an open invitation to knock her down, and the refs just look away. But she's not the only one. Star after star is falling, and then out of nowhere, Angel Reese decides she's done and walks away mid-season. In most leagues, that would be a shockwave. In the WNBA, it felt like a sad reflection of how broken things really are. Because when your commissioner can't keep control, when refs are auditioning for clown school, and when players are dropping like flies, quitting almost feels like the logical option, and that's the reality fans are seeing. A league that's crumbling while the stars who built it are being left unprotected. Here's the brutal truth. None of this is happening in isolation. The WNBA has begged for years to be taken seriously, but when the spotlight finally arrived, the league proved it wasn't ready, fans were hyped, ESPN was pretending to care, highlights were running everywhere, and for a few golden weeks before Caitlin Clark's injury, it felt like the league had finally made it, but the second she went down, everything collapsed. Ratings crashed, ticket sales nosedived, and the hype evaporated overnight. Suddenly, those packed arenas turned into echo chambers, and the marketing machine that ran on Clark's star power had nothing left to sell. The ugly reality is this: you cannot build a league on one player. You cannot protect your future by leaving your biggest star exposed. And now everyone sees what happens when the foundation of your so-called breakthrough season was just one name, Caitlin Clark. Some fans might say this is just a rough patch, that injuries happen and bad calls are part of the game. But let's be honest, this isn't bad luck, this is bad leadership. The commissioner has been sitting back like a substitute teacher who's lost control of the class. Instead of fixing problems, she doubles down on ignoring them. Star players are dropping out, officiating makes games unwatchable, and the fans who stuck around are finally asking themselves why they should keep caring. Indiana against Chicago was supposed to be a showcase but turned into another investigation circus that found nothing yet still damaged the league's reputation. This isn't one mistake or one bad game. This is failure stacked on failure, and over time it chips away at every ounce of loyalty fans have left. The truth is simple: people don't trust the league, players don't feel protected, and fans are starting to see the whole operation as a never-ending disaster. By now, the season doesn't even feel like basketball anymore. It feels like survival. Healthy players are being thrown into games that look more like rugby and pro wrestling than professional hoops. Fans are half expecting someone to pull out a steel chair at any moment, yet the commissioner still goes on camera bragging about growth like she's running a victory parade. Calling this season progress is like calling a house fire a new lighting design. It's pure delusion. These athletes are giving everything on the court while the system around them crumbles. They don't deserve refs who whistle like they're at a kid's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their health like an afterthought. And they definitely don't deserve a league that markets them only when it's convenient and abandons them. The second things get tough, the WNBA is limping toward the finish line with ratings in free fall, stars on the injured list, and fans wondering if there's even a future left to root for. So here we are at the end of a season that was supposed to be the breakthrough. Instead, it's a spectacular collapse. Ratings have tanked, ticket sales have vanished, and the entire product is being held together by nothing more than denial. The commissioner keeps talking about growth, while fans see empty arenas, injured stars, and a league that can't even protect the one player keeping it alive, Caitlin Clark. The truth is simple: this isn't about fans not caring. It's not about women's sports failing. It's about leadership that refuses to listen, refuses to protect its players, and refuses to face reality. Because without Clark, the hype is gone. Without protection, the stars won't last. And without real change, the WNBA will keep stumbling season after season until it collapses completely. Fans are demanding better, players deserve better, and unless something drastic happens, this so-called breakthrough year will be remembered not as the rise of the WNBA, but as the season that exposed just how fragile it really is.